All right. Is anyone done? You guys done? All right. So we're solving exponentials. All right. And here we go. This is what we should have for answers. Negative 14, 4, negative, or 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then 11 twelfths. How many people got all four of those correct? Nobody? Cooper, nice. Yeah, you made the video. Are you going to sue me now? No. I didn't say your last name. There could be many, many, many Coopers. And I want to get sued. Don't have any money anyway. No, I won't get into that. Anyway, can't bring that up. All right. So how did we do this? What did we actually do? Didn't we get isolated? Well, it's important to say isolate the exponential, So number 3, I had to divide by 3 first. You can't take 3 times 4. That's a PEMDAS violation. Anyone that did that, you should be arrested for math infractions. Okay, you can't take 3 times 4 because you haven't dealt with the exponent yet. So I can call that an exponent violation. And then the last one, you have to subtract 8 first before you consider equal bases. Okay. All right, and then equal bases, and then you really just drop the bases. And I don't know, it's just like common sense. Like I think I wrote this once. Sign of that sin. There's no sinners in a public school. We can get away with anything. All right, 745. Sorry. What's x equal to, everyone? What's x equal to? 745. What you reaching in the bag for? Got it. Allowed. All right. Now, are you okay? You're making faces.
Because you're yelling at me.
No, I'm not yelling at you. I was just worried about, and she didn't look when I was saying the sign thing, right? So I was worried about her education. I care about you. All right. So x equals 45, right? Right. Okay, so honestly, second semester, we're going to do trig equation solving, and that's going to come up. It actually is. All right, sine of this equals sine of that. Well, this has to equal that. All right, so you will. Did you get these done too? How many people got all those right? 2, -1, 1/2, and -8. Should be everybody. All right? Should be everyone. So knowing our rules here. Okay, so I just didn't want to spend a lot of time on this, so just write this down. I want to get. We're on a Wednesday. This is a short schedule. We got to get to it. But I do like this, and I think I shared this with you. I haven't shared it with the regulars yet. I did today. I did. So what's wrong with this? Sorry, I should have let you think about it. You can't get 25 in your head to be 3 to whatever power. You can't get equal bases. So now you need the glory and power of, starts with an L, everyone. And then this is when I think, I didn't give it to you guys, but I gave my students this question ahead of time. And then I tell you the story? I go, hey, A-Bers, you know how you solve this? Write this down. You remember that stupid little video I showed? What does that mean, that sound? They were like, what? I don't know. What does that sound mean? Change the exponent to a logarithm. And I told you and I told them, if you don't know how to change a logarithm to an exponent, get ready for your F quadruple minus, no retake. Because there's no excuse for not knowing how to change an exponent to a logarithm at this point. You either do it or you don't. No questions asked. All right? And then I showed you on your calculator how to evaluate that. We're going to do that here shortly. It was funny when I made the last video and then lost it. I made a boo-boo. That my calculator, the last thing I did on that was proving the next rules. Hey, whatever you do to one side, say it. This is why I like this, and you don't have to write this. This is what I was saying. With the regulars, I am gonna. I have changed as a person. I can't believe, as old as I am, I have always forced the issue. Just change it to a logarithm. We're not doing this because it's an extra step. But now I'm loosening up on this. So whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. I log base 3 of both sides. All right. Why does that work? What's log base 3 of 3 to the x? Well, it's right in front of you. The answer is, but it still requires memorization. You got to know the rule. You got to know that log base 3 of 3 raised to the x is x. Aren't we in the same spot where we just were before in one less step, though, right? This is why I refused over the years. I'm not doing extra steps. I like what a mathematician should teach is the quickest, fastest way, right? You should be efficient so you can move on. But I'm loosening up. And does it really have to be the base 3? No, you could just log both sides, but then you have to know another rule. What am I supposed to do with this exponent then? Whoa, what's going on here? What do I do with that x? I put it out in front. All right. Now, how many more steps are we in? Now we're 2 extra steps. All right. But you know what? This is the change of base formula. Draw an arrow to that. That is how you actually had to evaluate that back in the day. And I'm going to talk about that. And then I'm going to tell you a little story. And by the way, this last one, it doesn't matter what the base of the logarithm is. It's the same idea. We had a math meeting today, and we talked about innumeracy. What's innumeracy? Well, what's illiteracy? What are you bad at? What are you bad at if you're illiterate? Reading and probably writing. What are you bad at if you're innumerate? You're bad at numbers. This is when I say input, say it, liar. You're a liar if you can't input output and you can't evaluate. I think you guys are fine. All right. But that's the thing. That's the problem. And that's what we're battling right now. So the ABers pre-calc, it's not the pre-calc, it's the innumeracy. It really is. It's crushing those students. And I can only fight the fight and keep trying to hammer in that you got to stop it. And I'm going to make a point of this too. The calculator is part of the problem. It is one of the most destructive buttons of all time. And I don't care what anyone thinks, if I'm wrong or not. You know what gives me the right to have my thoughts? The First Amendment of the Constitution. Ain't I correct? I'm allowed to have my thoughts. And my thoughts are this, teaching all of these years, this button has destroyed the idea of what a fraction is. That button. That's why I have students that can't add 1/2 plus 1/2. What's 1/2 plus 1/2? 2/4. No, it isn't. Half of a pizza. What if Mr. Samuelus eats half of a pizza? He has. And then 20 minutes later, he ate the other half. He has. All right, anyway, how many pizzas did he eat? A whole. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2/2. All right, so anyway, clear. This is why I despise this button, but I'm still going to use it. 5, log base. I'm an old curmudgeon, though, Wasn't it log base 3 of 25, right? Enter. Didn't I do this with you before? I did. Because then the next thing I did is okay, here's the change of base. Log 25 divided by. What's the base on that logarithm? Everyone say it. 3, 2, 1, go. 10. Someone said 3. Same answer. And then ln, 25. I'm already losing my breath here. I'm allowed to think, have thoughts. They're not negative either. They're actually true. All right? That's what makes me mad. I don't like what you're saying. I don't like it. I'm turning you in. Oh, okay. Wasn't this just a little joke? I don't want anyone to get offended, right? So do these equations yield the same exact solution? How do I know? I'm not a wall licker. I actually memorize. I memorize what I'm supposed to memorize. Isn't that right? Now, it's just a little joke that if you're offended, okay, I'm sorry. Okay? It's true, though. You memorize your rules, and then you move on. We don't spin our wheels and keep trying to have to reteach over and over and over again. You memorize these identities. Now, all joking aside, we haven't seen this in a while, right? That was probably the last time I talked about that was before Thanksgiving for sure. All right. Sorry about that if that offended anyone. All right. And then I already did this. Okay. I already did that. All right. So on the next page. So what's the idea that we're going to have to do? I don't know. We've left you open to have a choice. Do you like changing a logarithm to an exponent? Or do you like to, whatever I do to one side, I do to the other? And I'm going to approach each one a little bit differently. And I'll probably do the same with the ABers. We won't do this till, I think it's the first thing we do right after break. We're going to really try to get them to know how to deal with the logarithm properties, graphing logs, and just what is a logarithm in general. And then after break, we'll finish off the log chapter. Okay, so let's look at this first one. We at the power base do that. If not, take a comment. So just give exact answers or for irrational numbers. Okay, okay. So I didn't read those directions. So maybe it's good because I did do a little mistake. I did decimals, which is not exact. All right. But they're talking about irrational numbers. So I'll show you some things here. So here's the first one, and this is silly. Now we're being robot. I was robotic last year. I'm going to be a robot again. And I told last hour I'm going to do the same, not mistake, but I'm going to get myself caught in. Okay, well, we just had questions that didn't have an equal base, so I'm going to change this to a logarithm. What's the base, everyone? Log base what? And I know probably what you're thinking. What's the answer? And it was at this point where I'm like, I'm a fool. What's 49? 7 what? Squared. I'm a fool. You're still fine. You're not wrong. It's just what's log base 7 of 49? What's the answer? So fine, we can make it 2, right? And we're still in that same spot of changing 49 to 7 squared, and then 3x minus 1 equals 2. So it is a no calculator question still. And then I can add 1 and divide by 3, and I get x equals 1. I should not have to do those undo operations. Everyone okay? All right. Next one. I think I am going to do whatever I do to one side, say it. But I can't take 2 times e. That's a PEMDAS error. Plus, I can't anyway. Someone asked me a great question, though, about graphing an LN graph, though, and they were kind of tough on that. Anyone, the homework from yesterday? There was LN of 1 minus e, or 1 minus, yeah, right? Okay, and she asked, what am I supposed to plug in here without a calculator? And if I have time at the end of this, I could, if you still have your, I didn't collect any homework. Didn't you do that yesterday, right? If you want to ask me that, if you remind me, try to before the video ends. It was actually a good question, and I came up with a good answer. How you're supposed to operate without a calculator. But it is rough. It's them being getting that honors question in there, getting that tough. Whatever I do on one side, say it. I'm going to LN both sides. Why? Because I have E. All right. What's ln of e to the 4 minus x? We need to know that as a rule, 4 minus x. And then you have the ACT coming up. Oh, you guys have been, it's very bad. Didn't last year you practice the SAT, right? Now it's the ACT. The Illinois switched gears again. It was like 6 years ago they switched from the SAT. You know what they had before that? The park exam. Boy, they swept that under the carpet. Anyone ever hear of the park exam? Anyone hear of Common Core? Well, let's just forget about that. That never happened. All right. I love it. ln of 5 minus 4. So we went from ACT to park exam to SAT, and now we're back to ACT. That's Mr. Samuelis's life the last, 6 to 8 years. And you guys are caught in the middle of it. We'll have to talk about the ACT as you get closer. Oh, they're doing a practice day with that. Did you guys hear about that? You're taking a day, one day, and you're coming into school and starting the ACT at 7:45. You'll be done right in the middle of like third hour, and then you're going to go the rest of the day. So I'm going to show you a practice one. The math is 60 questions, all multiple choice. You can have a calculator. Can. The reason I just went over that, this would not be on the SAT. They wouldn't be this challenging. But the ACT always had answers in calculator ready form. I don't think there's any decimal answers. Got it? That makes sense? That's called calculator ready. Now, it wouldn't be this bad. They wouldn't have this hard of a question on the ACT. But I'm just making a point of this. You would know you can type this on your calculator. The button's sitting right in front of you, and you type it exactly as it looks, the LN button, so you'd be fine. But you see what I did here? I subtracted 4, then I divided by negative, which is distributive. You distribute that negative through. If I ask for a decimal, then type it, okay? And just do it. Now, this is probably the toughest question on the whole sheet. Put a little star by this. Because it does, I'm going to put it in calculator ready form. I will talk about how you do a decimal, though, but I'm just not going to do it. And you should be able to understand it. Oh, wait, I can get equal bases. 6 squared is 12, right? Right? You know how many people tell me that? What is 12? 6 plus 6. So, no, 6 squared is not 12. I get students do that all the time. You know what I'm going to do? I still have to make a choice. So I'm going to log base, it's either 6 or 12. Pick one. 6. Okay, fine. That's what I would have done too. Okay, that means the right side will have a property I can use. Log base 6 of 6 to the 4x plus 5 is a big fat 4x plus 5. Or, if you wanted to pull this exponent out in front, then it's out in front. And then what's log base 6 of 6? 1. 1 times 4x plus 5. I don't care how you understand it, just understand it. And then on this one, I'm getting ready for this. Look at all that space he left. I wonder why he did that. Because now you're stuck. No, log base 6 of 12 is not 2. All right, 6 squared is 36. So what do I have to do with this x minus 1? What do I have to do? Pull it out in front. This is why you learned your identities. Okay, and then yesterday you had to have your identities to solve a log equation to condense before you did whatever you needed to do. All right, so 4x plus 5, and then that equals. Okay, now what do I do if I wanted to make this a decimal? And I actually did this last hour. And actually I stored this, but I'm not gonna do it with you guys. Look, I think I have it in here, but x enter. Someone take log base 6 of 12. Do it real quick. And this is the point where everyone just looks at me. Oh, me? Oh, you meant me? There's others here. They'll do it. And then all 20 students, they'll do it. Someone else will get it. Teaching in America. She's still holding it. Isn't it that decimal? Thanks, Ferris. You made the video. All right. Don't you gonna sue me? The Ferris, and you can get your common lawyer, and then All right. Okay, so Ferris got it. So that's what I did. And then what I did is I distributed the decimal and solved the decimal equation. Doesn't that sound easy? Right? But I kept that stored in X, so I had, when do you round? When did your science teacher tell you to round? At the end. So that's why you store that decimal, and then, but you know what? We're going to do this in calculator ready form. Oh no. All right. And again, the ACT would never have this level of a question. But with this used to be common. We used to do this all the time. And then over the years, we've kind of slacked off. I really think you should know how to do this, or should see this, and not make a big deal out of this like it's overwhelming. Because all you have to do is get these x's on the same side. So subtract, right? So 4x minus log base 6 of 12. And what we're doing here is doing this in calculator ready form. And remember, don't get overwhelmed. This is just some decimal. That's 1.38, right? That's all it is. But I just didn't write it as a decimal times x. So you just take 4 minus 1.38 and get like 2 point something. But no, we're going to leave it in calculator ready form. By the way, x and x, what are good FOILers, everyone? And then I'd have to subtract 5. So honestly, this would be negative 5. I hope I wrote that. Maybe I'm glad I lost that video. I think I might have lost the negative when I don't know. Sometimes my memory is not as great as it should be, but right? I subtract 5 from both sides, and then the negative log base 6 of 12, they're both negative. Why did I say good FOILers are good factors? We're going to subtract, no, wrong. We're going to divide out that x. We're going to GCF it. We're all right. We're in the worst question we could have. Everything else is going to flow real nice. And then a little review at the end, something I told you about the last examples. And then you're going to divide by this whole chunk. Okay, so sorry, this is a day. We haven't had one of these days in a while, right? Where I taught bell to bell. How you doing over there? You okay? Wait for college. It's going to be the full class. You know what's great about college, though? If they don't teach the full class, you know what they do sometimes? Yeah, I'm done with you. Just go. You're like, you look at what? I can leave? We have 20 minutes left. Nah, just get out. They do that. You're going to love it. Gonna love it. So there are some freedoms. X equals. Love it. That's calculator ready form. We used to do that all the time. So I'm assuming you would be able to get decimals and be able to solve it through decimals. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good to go? Everyone? Doa? Thank Doa. Sue? No. You know what I feel on this one? We should be able to get equal bases. What's the square root of e? What does that equal to? E to the 1/2. What are you supposed to do with these exponents then? What are you supposed to do with these exponents then? Subtract. What's 1/2 minus 1? Remember the numeracy I was talking about? This is e to the what? Negative 1/2. And if you're bamboozled by that, you need to go back to grade school. I can't teach that anymore. All right. Oh, by the way, what's x equal to? Look at this. This is just comparisons. E to the x over 2 equals e to the negative 1 over 2. What does x equal? Oh, come on, right? I just did that. Sine of x equals sine of 435. X equals 435. Look at the positions. So that's what they said at the beginning. If you can change bases to be equal, then do it. Make your life easy. Subtract 5, that's negative 3. Then divide by negative 3, which is 1. Was that too fast? So number 1 is because of PEMDAS, I can't add that to 81, and I cannot multiply. This is exponents of PEMDAS. So that means I have to get it out of there. I have to undo it. So subtract 5 from 2, negative 3, then divide by negative 3, I get 1. You know what? I can get this as equal bases. What is 1? 81 to the what power? 0. Isn't that going to happen anyway? If I change this to a logarithm, it's going to be log base 81 of 1. What is log base 81 of 1? What is log base 81 of 1? 0. Okay, and then add 1, divide by 3. Got it? So you don't have to do that. You could have changed it to a logarithm and end up in the same position as what I was verbalizing there. Doing okay? Were you okay with yesterday? Right? Wasn't yesterday all right? How many people were almost done with the homework before they left yesterday? Big chunk of it. Add 1. That's 1. Sorry, I was never good at math. Add 1 to both sides. What's 2 plus 1? 3. Then divide by negative 3. This is interesting. What's the answer? Who just said no solution? Raise your hand. Why? Can I take 81 to any power and get a negative as a result? Is that even possible? You know what's going to end up happening even if you did go ahead and change this to a logarithm? You'd have log of a negative number. That's still not possible. Same reasoning. Same reasoning. Okay? All right. Let's go to this. Let's remind ourselves of half-life. And I'm pretty sure I said this. I could pull up the video from back then and say, hey, we're going to do half-life, and they're all going to work on the calculator. Wrong. We had to go to our calculator and find the intersection between the left side and the right side. You remember doing that? Y1, Y2, find the intersect, and that's what the x value is. Then I said, I bet you can't wait till you get to logarithms because it's a lot faster. You can use logarithms to solve these same things. So the half-life of iodine 125 is 60 days. Half-life. That means I lose half. How much do I have left over? Half. So a substance contains 64 milligrams to start. Okay. So A of T. What does A of T stand for? Amount over time, I guess. You're going to use this for money, A of T. And that equals, where does the 125 go? Nowhere. I was like, where does this go? It's a number, so I got to stick it in a formula somewhere. All right. No, that's just part of the name. We made that joke last hour. I have 64. That's our A value. Remember, this is A times B raised to some power, just the general format of an exponential. So my A value is 64. And then that's the thing. We lose half, so we still have half. Remember, this is 1 minus whatever your decay rate is. Well, 1 minus a half is still a half. You okay back there? Oh, I thought you were going to break your neck falling backwards and just, oh, God, this is so. All right. And then what's the exponent? T over 125? 60. Why? Here's the why. What happens when I plug in 60? What's 60 over 60? Please answer my question. 1. What's 1/2 to the first? Half. Half of 64 is 32. Oh, in 60 days, I should have 32 left over because that's what the half-life is. That's why it's got to be t over 60. And then how long will it take it to become 1? What? That's a brain. Bzz, my brain just short-circuited. And then my goofballs that take half of 64. You are a goofball because that is doing multiplication before handling the exponent. I can call that PEMDAS violation. So what do we have to do with that 64? What do we have to do with that 64? Divide it. And then we get our 3 positions. And now I care to do this, the changing, because you guys should be able to do this. Base, so I'm going to change this to a logarithm. Log base half of answer. Ooh, actually, I'm wrong. I could have done this without a calculator. T over 60, and then multiply both sides by 60. Who's really, really quick in here? What's the answer to log base half of 1 over 64? 3, 2, 1, go. Nobody. Did someone say it? You guys are whispering. So I hear a 6. It is. This is 6. 1/2 to the 6th power does equal 64. So it's 60 times 6. That's 360. So time would be 360 days. Got it? Okay. All right. So that was interesting. I didn't even think about that last hour. So I guess that's why they asked this one. 6 equals 64 raised to the half. T over 60. Maybe this one doesn't work out as nice. Divide by 64, then this one probably would require logarithms. Yeah, that's just a big mess. 6 doesn't go into 64, so this would require logarithms as well. It's the same setup, right? Can I move on? Okay, it's just 6 over 64 is the base now. Then the last one, compounded monthly. We're just trying to recall some old formulas that we did make you memorize. And that formula was this. A of t equals, we put a principal in. It is 1 plus a rate, and we do have an increasing rate, so it is plus. But remember what I told you, and I asked you, and you were the one that rose your hand. You have a savings account, right? And you get it quarterly. That means every quarter you got a percent rate. But if you were getting 4%, you don't get 4% every 3 months. You get 1/4 of 4% every 3 months, right? Just shake your head. Yes. Okay, remember that? That's why it's R over N. And by the way, what's N if it's monthly? 12. So every month you get 1/12 of your rate paid out. How many times a year though? 12. That's why N is also in the exponent. Why do I go through all of this? Because that helps you memorize. That's why sometimes I have a problem memorizing until I talk myself through it. All right. And then I explained why continuously is in this position. This turns into E because that's how E is derived. And then you got to remember the PERT formula. Blah, 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 blah. All right. And then if 2,000 doubles, what does that become? 4,000. If it doesn't give you an amount, pick an amount. Sometimes these questions are worded, how long does it take an investment to double, and they don't give you a dollar amount? Then students freeze. Well, you didn't give me any money, so I don't know. Make it up. $1 million, $2 million. $1 turns into $2. Make up something. All right. But anyway, I helped you out on that in case that happens. 12, 12T. And then, yes, you do want to divide both sides by 2,000, no matter what dollar amounts. If that dollar amount doubles, you have 2 over there after the division. No matter what. 1 million to 2 million doesn't matter. You know what? I don't even feel like it. I'm not even going to. Are we almost done? How many minutes do we have left? 7. You're a little bit faster than that. You can go ahead and put your stuff away. I'm going to go ahead and go to my calculator. Base, exponent, answer. So it's log base. I'm not even gonna change it. 1 plus 0.012 divided by 12, that whole expression, of 2 equals 12t. And then what I'm going to have to do is divide this monster by 12 when I'm done. And I am going to go to the calculator and do that if you want to watch. If you don't, it's no big deal. It's not a trick. Okay, but I will finish the video. And please make me save the video. Where's the mouse? There it is. You guys see that? The mouse cursor wasn't showing up. That's freaking. Oh no, I want this over here. That's what I'm typing. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to use the cheating button. Ooh, does anyone not have the cheating button? Does anyone have a TI-83 or 83 plus? Okay, I'll take that as a you don't. All right, and that's fine. I love those calculators too. You just have to use the change of base formula. I get a little freaky. I want to do the parentheses. 1, I don't think I need these because it's all in the base. 0.012. It's just old school when we had to concern ourselves with order of operations more. That's another thing the calculator has done. It's made students not know their order of operations anymore. True, true, true. Enter. Oh, it took the parentheses away. Did you see that? Weird. Divided by then 12. So you want to clear out that logarithm, get it done, and then get your answer, which is 57.79 years. Why it takes that long? It's because the percent is awful. Sorry, buddy in the back, but I bet your percent's even worse in your savings account right now. He doesn't know. It's the way interest rates are working. The savings accounts are really, really bad on interest. So, okay, let me press the right button. Stop sharing. No, I know I hit that.